Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again, and welcome to Big Mike Talks, where we're going to be doing something a little bit different this time. We're still going to stick with the wrestling. However, instead of doing everything in one shot, which is what I've been doing the last couple weeks, I think I'm going to split the week into segments and do some recording a couple times a week. So, Thursdays, days like today, I'm going to be covering Monday Night Raw, Tuesday, NWA Power and MLW Fusion, and then Wednesday's Dynamite. And then on Saturday, I'll be covering Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, SmackDown, and Rampage. That way, it's nice and segmented, and it's not just one huge video. Which, I think would be a better shot. So, I hope you're comfortable. Go grab a snack, maybe something to drink, and let's do this. Starting off with Monday Night Raw. Starting off with the Rated R Superstar Edge, as he calls out Finn Balor, who issued Edge a challenge for WrestleMania. Outcome, pretty much everyone in Judgment Day. Balor pretty much says, "Oh, you've beaten us a couple times, we've beaten you. We hit Beth Phoenix with a concerto. And Edge just wants this to end. So, at WrestleMania, it'll be Edge versus Balor. Hell in a Cell. Which, that match should steal the show. And Finn Balor teased the return of a certain gimmick. The Demon. So the Demon might be coming back for WrestleMania. Or, a version of the Demon. This leads to Dom, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest going down to the ring, surrounding Edge, starting to beat him down. Then Gargano, Loomis, and Candice LeRae come out to make the save, which then sets up a tag team match playa, as it's Gargano and Loomis versus Dom and Priest, which honestly wasn't a bad match, but it was a nice opener. Not really a palate cleanser, nothing to really write home about, but it was pretty entertaining. At times, we saw Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae get into it, which, that was pretty cool. Maybe one day we'll see that happen. And then Dom wins with the frog splash, although then Gargano tries for the roll-up. Damian Priest kicks them over after Rhea Ripley gets the attention of the ref. Ref counts to 3. Winners, Judgment Day. And honestly, I thought it was an okay match. A little lackluster finish, but, whatever. It's fine for what it was. Next, we have backstage, Chad Gable looking for his tag team partner, Otis. We'll get to that little bit of revelation in a little bit, including printing out flyers, handing them out to superstars. This next segment, we had Omos and Brock Lesnar having a face-to-face, which, honestly, I know a lot of people are hating on this match, but I'm excited for it for 2 reasons. 1, Suplex City. I want to see Brock Lesnar ragdoll that big giant. And 2, getting him up for that F5. That's going to pop the crowd huge, and honestly, I'm kind of here for it. Will it be the greatest match in the world? Absolutely not. Will it be a fun monster mash, which will have a couple of fun moments? Absolutely. So, I'm not going to hate on it. We did have a handshake to start. It did look like Brock was going to attack Omos. Omos then grabs Brock Lesnar by the face, tries to throw him over the top, fails on the first attempt, but then finally gets him over. I know a lot of people are crying, "Oh, botch, this match is going to be terrible." Just screw off, man. It's going to be a monster mash match, and it's not for us. It's not for us hardcores. It's for the the people who just tune in for WrestleMania and don't tune in weekly. And that's fine. Let them have a little cake. This next match though, this match was for us. As Cody Rhodes takes on LA Knight. Yeah! And, of course, we have the storyline of LA Knight trying to get on something for WrestleMania, which, honestly, I've kind of missed in the last couple years of WrestleMania, considering, they throw everybody on the card, including the two kind of pointless battle royals. So, to see people fighting to get on the card, concerned to get on the card, it's a nice little storytelling. It's nice. It's fun. Will they get on the card? Who knows? Hell, LA Knight, there's a rumor that LA Knight might be facing Stone Cold this year. We'll see. But, seeing little stuff like this is entertaining. And this match, this match was a beaut. It's something I would recommend if you're a big wrestling fan and don't really watch Raw. Look, find this match. It was absolutely fantastic. Lots of back and forth. Lots of good stuff, including a counter from LA Knight from a disaster kick, which that was impressive. And we got the cutter, we got the crossroads, Cody Rhodes with the big win. And then Cody gets a mic and counters what Heyman said last week about Cody making this Roman feud for WrestleMania personal. And then pretty much Cody said, when you brought my family into this, you made it personal, so I'm making it personal for your family, for the bloodline. So I'm going to continue to stick my nose in this. And he pretty much confirms what we kind of already knew. Roman versus Cody, main event of WrestleMania Night 2. So it's going to be the main event. So that's going to be a fun match. I can't wait. We see Seth Rollins backstage in an interview. Says he's ready for Logan Paul. Miz interrupts. Apparently they're going to have whatever Logan Paul's talk show is on YouTube. I don't watch that. I don't really care that much. Pretty much calls Seth Rollins jealous because Logan Paul has all this clout and all this riches, and Rollins is just an indie guy. And then in comes Baron Corbin, who offers to be Miz's co-host for WrestleMania. Miz turns him down. And then he offers to train up Seth for his match against Logan Paul at WrestleMania, considering he's a former Golden Gloves boxing champion, which, that's pretty cool. I keep forgetting he's a good boxer. So, Seth Rollins turns him down. Seth then pretty much tells Corbin, I'm ready to fight. I don't want to talk anymore. So for later on in the night, we get Cody Rhodes versus Corbin, which, it was what it was. Nothing super to write about. Honestly, it was kind of quick, too. Like, Miz tried, Seth threw Corbin into Miz at one point, who was singing at ringside, doing commentary. Miz then tries to get in the ring, but ultimately fails. And then Seth springboards off of Miz's back and hits a stomp on Corbin for the win. Which, honestly, that's impressive. Last time that happened, I believe it was in the Rumble? Maybe? I don't know. It was definitely a crazy bout, and I enjoyed that. We then get Angelo Dawkins versus Austin Theory. Dawkins and his partner Montez Ford were making fun of him for being pretty much trashed on the mic last week by John Cena. And Dawkins stood up, and he's getting the match. No U.S. title on the line, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it wasn't on the line. A decent back and forth, including a big old pounce from Angelo Dawkins. That was cool. But ultimately, Theory hits the A-Town down and gets the win. Next up. Next up, we have Rey Mysterio out. Pretty much saying, oh, thank you for this honor of putting me in the Hall of Fame. Hey, out comes Dom. Pretty much says what he said on SmackDown. He missed every holiday. He missed every big moment of his. And then he throws it down. He challenges his father, Rey Mysterio, to a match at WrestleMania. Then Rey says, I'm not fighting my son. That match isn't going down. But I think that match is going to go down, and I believe at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, Dom is going to take out Rey Mysterio. After his speech, of course. It's something different from what we've seen from the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which has been just... Which, you know, don't get me wrong. I like hearing legend stories all the time, but we don't need 2 hours of that. We then finally get an update on Trish after she was attacked by Damage Control earlier in the night. Pretty much says they definitely hurt me, but they didn't finish the job. So it looks like that 6-man tag is still on. And then we get to see where Otis has been, as he's been modeling with Maximum Male Models. Chad Gable then tries to get involved in the modeling, and I guess it was Mansoor, pretty much says, oh, you broke our camera, we gotta go. So they walk off. Gable and Otis are still kind of together. Gable pretty much says, alright, we can still get a 1-hour workout routine in 20 minutes. And then he's called off by Maxine, and he leaves. And that was the saddest I've ever been for Chad Gable. Like, the dude... I don't want to see him Alpha Academy break up, but this is getting me right in the feels. Like, it hurts a little bit. Next up, we got Bianca Belair versus Chelsea Green in pretty much a cut and paste match from last week versus Carmella. Interference from the outside, and Bianca Belair stands tall. 2-on-1 assault, and then Asuka makes the save. Like, I'm sorry, everywhere else Triple H has been doing really good, but in the women's division, he's kind of been struggling to book something credible. And I get it. It's tough to book face versus face. So turn Asuka heel. Like, it's easy with her new getup. Have her attack Bianca. Have her stand tall. Instead of having Chelsea Green and Carmella be the third wheels. Or be like the main feud and Asuka being the third wheel. It doesn't work. Like, we gotta do something else with that. And final off for Raw. Our main event, a street fight between Kevin Owens and Solo Sikoa. And Solo jumps Kevin Owens before the belt. They brawl for a bit on ringside. They then get in the ring and start just beating the heck out of each other, including having a setup where it's like a bunch of chairs in a row and a superplex from the top rope. That was gnarly. It looks like Solo's about to leave through the curtain. Kevin Owens follows, hit by a double super kick by the Usos, who then drag him back down to the ring. Another super kick, Samoan spike from Solo, 1, 2, 3, Solo Sikoa wins. And honestly, that was a beatdown, and Kevin actually threw up in the ring, that's kind of the first time in a long time I've seen that. And, earlier in the night, Owens pretty much told Sami Zayn and Cody to stay in the back, that I don't need them. And, this is probably where we'll see Kevin Owens start to come around, and we will see him and Sami Zayn team up. Fingers crossed. So, that was Raw. Next up, we got NWA Power, as we will see the next challenger for Tyrus's NWA World title. It's Chris Adonis, who is cashing in his Championship Series win. That is a whole thing I don't want to go into. So, first match in, we got the NWA TV title semifinal, I believe. I think this is the quarterfinal for the NWA Women's TV title. We got Kenzie Page versus Ashley Dubois. And honestly, these two work really, really well together. A lot of back and forth, a lot of big old moves, a lot of counters too, actually. And Kenzie Page wins with a full Nelson into a cutter, which was very impressive to get the win and to move on. We then have an update from Trevor Murdoch, who last week had a match against Big Beast, or whatever his name was, and turns out he got hurt, and he will be out for a little while. So, feel better soon, Trevor Murdoch. And hopefully we get your stuff back. Next up is a bit of a squash match between Mike Knox and Stacey Alexander, who is from Control Your Narrative, which is EC3's group, I guess. Like I said, bit of a squash match. Alexander did get some stuff in, but it was pretty much all Knox. So, that's that. We have Bobby Fulton backstage, who was here to, he recruited Rhett Titus and, Chris Adonis to get the old NWA USA titles off of the Fixers, who took them from the current champ, who lost to the current champions, and now have a new belt design, which is like 100 times better. And then the Fixers, who looked like they were agreeing, they were getting those titles back, then took a photo and took them back from Fulton. And Fulton now feels embarrassed, and he challenges either of the Fixers to a match. So, we'll see where that goes. We then have an interview with the Spectaculars, who feel betrayed by Aaron Stevens. Mostly Ronaldo Freeman, who Stevens, if you don't remember him, that's the former Damian Sandow. He talked Rolando Friedman into cashing in his Championship Series match against Tyrus a couple weeks ago on NWA Power. He feels betrayed, and he's going to get revenge on Stevens, which hopefully we'll see. Next up, NWA TV title match as Tom Latimer defends against Rhett Titus. And while this match was a little quick, I do understand they got a quick time limit, the 6:05 time limit. It was still a lot of fun, a lot of back and forth good wrestling. Not so many big moves, but enough to satiate, including a missed big dog boot from Rhett Titus. And then finish comes with Latimer trying to get the crossface on Rhett Titus. Rhett Titus then breaks out. And then Latimer sticks in the STF, which is, John Cena's finishing move, for the tap out victory, which that was a lot of fun match. Very chaotic, very unexpected from Latimer. I'm definitely becoming more of a fan of Latimer these days. He's great. We then get an interview from Thrillbilly Silas Young, who is backstage with his manager Pollo Del Mar. And they pretty much said, oh, we got skipped in the national title match by EC3. It should be my spot. And, next NWA pretty much calls it a shot for the national championship. So, we'll see where that goes. And finally, our main event of the evening. We have one half of the NWA Tag Team Champions, Mecha Wolf, taking on NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, Kerry Morton, the son of Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express. And I gotta tell you, this match started really, really quickly. A lot of arm drags, a lot of good moves. Mecha Wolf definitely tried to slow things down a little bit, but then Kerry Morton would pop back up and do his stuff. Then down comes Bestia 666, who it looks like he's going to get involved, but is ultimately stopped. And then his big old surprise kiss it goodbye finisher from Kerry Morton, who picks up the victory. So I guess this rivalry between the Mortons and La Rebellion will be continuing, which honestly I'm interested to see where this goes. Next up, we got MLW Underground, who pretty much starts with Real One, aka Enzo Amore, who is out in a wheelchair after getting hit by a car by Mance Warner. And he pretty much says, if anything like that happens again, I'm going to sue everyone, including MLW, which, that usually doesn't end well. Out comes Mance Warner, getting ready for his street fight against Ricky Shane Page, who is making his MLW debut. And he starts off by throwing a chair right into Mance Warner's face. A lot of decent big guy moves from Ricky Shane Page. They do the same chair spot by Kevin Owens and Solo Monday, which it's alright seeing that again. They then bring out the drywall, which, cool. Set it in the corner like tables, and they just slammed each other through it. And then the Ravens group, I forget what they're called. Their minions are at ringside. They get a table in. Looks like Mance Warner's about to get in. Enzo then gets out of his wheelchair, crutch in hand, boom, right into the gut of Mance Warner. And, big DDT through the table. Big choke slam through the table, which that was a sick choke slam by Ricky Shane Page, for the win by the big man. So, that was definitely a cool match. We are then getting Taya Valkyrie versus Billy Starks coming next week. So that should be a fun one. We'll talk about Taya in AEW. Next up, we have Cesar Duran announcing his newest acquisition for Azteca Underground. It's La Estrella, who is getting an MLW middleweight bout title match against Lince Dorado. Now, Dorado has teamed with La Estrella in the past against, I believe it was Delirious and Minion Obispo Negro Jr. So, this is, and actually he walked out on that match. So A heel turn is definitely interesting, so we'll see about that. This was definitely a great, big old high-flying luchador match. A lot of high-flying, a lot of good stuff. Cesar Duran's minions, the Azteca henchmen, who have the most generic luchador mask I've ever seen, come out. They try to interfere. They then get taken out by Microman, who I think easily one of my favorite dudes on MLW. He then gets a kendo stick, threatens Cesar Duran with it, which that's an interesting visual, man. And then a big old poison rana by Dorado. And then a powerbomb into a shooting star press for the retention. Man, this was a fun match. A bit chaotic for my liking, but it's interesting to see where this goes. We then get a promo from Alex Kane. He's ready in 2 weeks to face Davey Boy Smith Jr. So that's going to be a fun match. I can't wait for that. We have the MLW World Title contract signing, which is taking place next week, which, yeah, I'm here for. At first, it does look like they're just going to sign it and go. Alexander Murstone then brings up Jacob Fatu's family, and then they just start brawling all over again. Personally, I love this feud. I cannot wait to see where it goes next week. And then finalement, our main event for MLW, as the World Tag Team titles are on the line, as the Samoan SWAT team, which is Juicy Finau and Lance Anoa'i, take on Hustle and Power, that being Calvin Takeman, who has honestly been a really underrated wrestler in my opinion, and EJ Nduka, who actually pretty recently had a world title match of his own. Before the bell can ring, Hustle and Power jump SST on the ramp, which then leads to a big old brawl ringside, including the use of chairs, and I think there was a table at one point. No, they set it up, but they didn't use it. No, they did use it. They spinebustered him through a table. Bell rings, and it's just all-out chaos. Limited tags in, but seeing Juicy Finau fly, that was something I'd never seen from I don't even want a super heavyweight. Let's just give it that. And then we get Juicy Finau throwing powder into Calvin Tankman's face, which that's a little bit old school, honoring Yokozuna. Then we have a big old Samoan drop from Lance Anoa'i, a big splash from Juicy from the top, which that was insane. For winners and new MLW World Tag Team Champions, the Samoan SWAT team. And honestly, I can't wait to see who they defend it against next. Could it be the FBI, the Billington Bulldogs? There's options here. I was hoping the Von Erichs would be around, but we'll see about that. And then, post-match, Jacob Fatu comes out with a pretty big portion of the Anoa'i family, where everyone celebrates in the ring, which that was a very nice moment. I'm glad MLW gave this family that moment. Alright. And then finally, for at least this recording, we have AEW Dynamite, which starts with MJF's Rebar Mitzvah. Now, I am not of the Jewish faith, so I It's pretty much just a big old party to celebrate manhood, in which MJF pretty much says, I've not just become a man, I've become an Iron Man. Brings out the people with the chair. They do the, chair dance for a little bit. And then out comes the other pillars of AEW. Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. So seeing these four in the ring at one time, that's awesome. They pretty much plead their case for a title shot. And MJF pretty much poops on all of them. Pretty much saying, I've beaten you all one-on-one. You don't deserve to be champion, to even sniff the world title. So you guys should get out of my ring and let me continue celebrating. This then leads to a pie face to Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy then jumps MJF. Sammy and Darby brawl. And then Jungle Boy dumps MJF over the top rope into his cake, which was sitting ringside, in which that's a pretty waste of cake. So I'm glad we're doing something a little different with MJF and the Pillars. This helps elevate all of them a bit. So we'll see where this goes. Next up, a 6-man tag team match playa, as we have the full force, of the Blackpool Combat Club. We have Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Jon Moxley taking on Hangman Page, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson. Now, Grayson has been coming on and off AEW when they go to Canada. They are in Winnipeg, so Hangman made a call and got Stu Grayson back. Now, it doesn't seem like this is going to be a long term, but honestly, this was less of a wrestling match. This all felt very personal, and just everyone's throwing haymakers at each other. Finish comes with the Bulldog choke on Grayson, Stu Grayson, who taps out in his return, in which, that's interesting. Mox then keeps the chokehold in, while the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club takes on Hangman and Evil Uno. Out comes Silver and Reynolds, who've run off the Blackpool Combat Club. And we'll get to that a little later. Juice Robinson then pretty much has a promo calling out Ricky Starks. And then Ricky Starks pretty much tells him, you want to bring back Bullet Club? Fine. They haven't been relevant since 2015. In which, he's kind of right. And then Ricky pretty much says, anytime you want to have a match, bring it on. Next up, we have the Jade Cargill TBS title open challenge match, which is answered by Nicole Matthews of Canada. Pretty much a big old squash match in which, everybody thought a certain person would be here. Now, she wasn't in the match, but post-match, after Jade Cargill had hit Jaded, Cargill pretty much got a microphone, pretty much says, is that all you got, Canada? Was that your best? Out comes Taya Valkyrie, making her AEW debut, and honestly, I'm pretty hyped for that. Am I a little sad she left Impact Wrestling? Yeah, a little bit. But now she's on a bigger stage, and she's going right for that title. I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun. Next up, we got Orange Cassidy defending his newly minted AEW International title against Double J Jeff Jarrett. Now, match starts out one-on-one. A lot of fun, a lot of good stuff. Jeff Jarrett then mocks the hands in the pocket spot and the ineffective kicks Cassidy usually does. Jeff Jarrett targeting the legs of Orange Cassidy multiple times, going for the figure 4, which Cassidy breaks out of. Then Sanjay Dutt, who is at ringside, gives Jeff Jarrett his guitar while the ref was taken out by a splash. It looks like he's going to go for it. Out comes Aubrey Edwards to stop him. Orange Cassidy somehow then gets the guitar. Then Satnam Singh grabs it. Aubrey turns around and throws out Sanjay and Satnam. Then from behind, we get Jay Lethal, who has the Golden Globe from... I forget the actor's name. I do apologize for that. Hits Cassidy with it. But then that only leads to a 2. Out comes Chuck Taylor. No Trent Beretta because he was having a medical issue. Feel better soon, buddy. He then runs off Jay Lethal. Cassidy then goes for an orange punch, but then he crumbles like Jay Lethal did last week after Cassidy took out his arm, which, honestly, I like that psychological wrestling of picking a target and wearing it down. That's always good for me. Cassidy then gets up, orange punch for the 3 and the retention. This match was a lot more fun than I expected it to be, and I'm going to say give it a watch. We then get an Outcasts promo. If you don't know who the Outcasts are, it's Ruby Soho, Tony Storm, and Saraya, who pretty much say, we're here to make the AEW Women's Division better. We're here to step it up and take it away from the OGs. And then that brings out Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. They brawl for a little bit, but the numbers game gets a hold of them. Then out comes Riho, our first AEW Women's Champion, flanked by Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue, who have been victims of the Outcasts for a while now. So, yeah, maybe we get to see our first women's Blood and Guts match? Question mark? Then we get the revelation that Powerhouse Hobbs and his new crew at QTV, which is it's interesting, I guess, where it's revealed the QTV crew actually broke into Wardlow's car and took everything. So I guess it's kind of a psychological thing, but yeah, I guess it continues the feud. It is then revealed Hobbs has an open challenge for Rampage, which is on Friday, and it is answered by Rey Fenix, who he has current singles gold on him, currently, the AAA Latin America and Cruiserweight titles, so he is very familiar with singles gold. And finally, this match was hard to keep track of, let me tell you. It is a triple threat trios match featuring the Jericho Appreciation Society, that's Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Daniel Garcia. The Elite, which is Kenny Omega, Nick and Matt Jackson, and the House of Black, the defending champions. That's Aleister Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. And good lord, like I said, this was hard to keep track of. The action was really well paced. There was some confusion on tagging, because at one point Jericho tagged in on Sammy Guevara, but Sammy Guevara was not the legal man. Daniel Garcia was. Jericho goes for a pin, and then the ref counts. So there was a little confusion. Garcia then tags in, gets hit by a big old spin kick by Malachi Black, and then Dante's Inferno tag move from King and Matthews for the pin and the win. So that's our main event. Then a little bit earlier in the night, we saw Reynolds, Silver, and Hangman brawling with the Blackpool Combat Club backstage. Post-match, they all come out. They're still brawling. Blackpool Combat Club have Hangman Page in the ring all on his own. In come the Elite behind him, backing him up. Blackpool Combat Club bows out. Are we getting the Elite reunited? Because honestly, I'd be okay with that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Alright, that is it from me. I hope you all guys enjoyed this weekly wrestling roundup. The next episode will be on Saturday, where I'll cover Impact, Ring of Honor, SmackDown, and Rampage. So, that should be a lot of fun. I hope you guys tune in for that. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about these shows so far. And, let me know what you think of the road to WrestleMania so far, because I've been enjoying it. Well, maybe not all of it. The women's division has been a little weird, but overall, I think WrestleMania is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. Until next time, happy wrestling, everybody.